Saturday morning seed delivery with Rylan. We're checking out the cows. You want me to just throw you in the pen with them? Yeah! Good morning. I sure wish it would warm up. Oh, it's brutally cold. My poor corn beans sitting in the ground, not growing because it's too cold. Supposed to be high of like 44 today. Cloudy. There's some icy rain stuff around the area. Oh, it's not good. It's not good. I think our stuff is fine. At least I keep telling myself that. We will see. We might get a chance to go out and dig in the field and dig up some seedlings from some stuff we planted almost 2 weeks ago now. See where it's at later today. But we've got some seed deliveries we're going to make here this morning and maybe this afternoon. So that's my plan. Brock is going to be here in a little bit. I need him to get that little sprayer sitting on that wagon over there. Goes in the back of our gator when Dad needs to use that. So we're going to have him get that put on, installed, whatever. You guys get it. And then he's going to go disc because we really haven't gotten any rain over the weekend. We had 1/4 of an inch total since Friday. And most of that was on Friday and Saturday. So it's dry. We can work. And he's going to run the disc while I do some seed deliveries. Dad is going to spray some wheat this week, and one of the fields, some of this stuff goes in. So I need to sort through here. Plus, I have some stuff that is going to go on with some corn starter and my starter when we get back to planting, which I don't know when that's going to be. It may be tomorrow for all I know, but we're going to sort through these pallets a little bit, figure out what exactly we need to get out of here. Oh, boxes and jugs suck. I wish I was committed enough to buy enough to have this in shuttle so I don't have to do boxes. But whatever. Anyway, these 3 are for the next shot on the wheat. So when Dad sprays the herbicide, which he has been working on and going to do this week, that same area that we added some stuff to the nitrogen when we sprayed that a couple weeks ago, we're going to add these in on top of that. Along with, well, no, it'll be different timing. So that'll be, just with the herbicide in the water. This is more nitrogen stabilizer, well, some other stuff in addition, but when we put the second shot of nitrogen on, we'll use more of that. And then over here, we've got some upward. That is going in our corn starter in a couple of spots. We're going to do some side-by-sides. So, yeah, that's the plan here. Oh, man. All right, I've got to go, but Phil was checking the disc out this morning. We've got another bearing out. Par for the course. We put a crappy bad batch of bearings into that thing about 3 or 4 years ago, the last time we rebladed it, and I swear we've changed every bearing on that disc since then. But I don't know, that's the second one this spring, so we're still having trouble with them. We do have new blades and bearings going on that disc later this summer, after the spring work. And we're going to try a little different kind of bearing on there when we do that, because I think it's not actually a problem of not greasing it enough. I think we are over greasing it and blowing seals out, and it is hard to convince people that things don't need to be greased as much or put as much in at a time. And yeah, we still have all kinds of bearing issues, and that makes them grease more, and I think we're going backwards. So we've got some Tillage Extreme bearings that are sealed, and there's no greasers that are going to go on when we put new blades on it. But we're going to get it through the spring, so Phil and Brock are working on that. Brock's going to get that sprayer put in the gator. We are going to load up a full trailer load. I have 6 boxes of beans that need to go to Berkey for us, and I have 2 boxes of beans already at Berkey that get delivered to a customer past that, farther that way, from there. So we're going to take our stuff down, unload it, load his up, and go deliver it. This is going to be a long trip. Rylan and I were out here on Saturday a little bit. Swept the floors all up, got everything cleaned up really nice, and folded down empty boxes. So we've got a lot of stuff in that corner that's got to go out yet, but we are getting closer. All right, we're loaded up. Let's head to Berkey. See how much rain we got down there. Brock has got all of those corn stalks down there disked up and ready to be planted as soon as it's dry enough to do so. Of course, then the question of is it warm enough to do so comes up, but there is chances, I guess, today and tomorrow of some rain or frozen, but I don't think it's anything significant. If I wanted to be, we could be done planting by the time the rain comes on Friday, Thursday. I just don't know. I just don't know if that's a good idea. It's still cold, but today's the 24th of April. Like the calendar says it's time to plant, we should be planting, but it is very cold yet. So we need to go out and look when I get back, stick a thermometer in the ground, see what our soil temps are at. They've got to be dipped down into the 40s by now, I would think. But it was plenty warm when we put stuff in the ground, and I'm sure what we planted is still in good shape. It's just growing slow.
Well, good afternoon. Done a pretty poor job of filming this morning. We had 2 bearings to change, and Phil was helping, so didn't break the camera out then. But we got them fixed. The one was on an inside gang right there, and that was a pain. And then the other one was actually on the rolling baskets on the main frame. So that one wasn't too bad. We had both of them, so got those changed and stuff like that. We did get a light snow flurry pretty much, and then a little bit of rain, but the ground was so dry that we're still going. Not a problem at all. Working over real nice. At least it was on the high ground, and we'll keep going and see. I just started here, but this is what we're doing today. We're disking. Nathan's delivering some seed. Mark's cleaning up a fence line, and Phil, I don't know what he's doing, but I bet he's doing something. So this is what we're doing today.
Oh man, it is so freaking cold. Brutal. I'm glad my seeds are sitting under a blanket of dirt. Anyway, we've got the 2 boxes on that we need to continue on. We got to strap them down yet. These 8 sitting here, 2 that we had already brought and the 6 we just brought, are our beans to plant down here. Might happen tomorrow. I don't know. The ground looks dry here. That was one of the questions we had, was how much rain did we get here? It doesn't look any wetter here than it does at Waldron. So we're in good shape. Put them in the ground. As they say, they don't grow in the boxes or the bags. Boxes. Our wheat has definitely started growing and greening up a little bit. Still a little yellow, but we haven't had much rain to get the nitrogen into the ground until the last 1/4 inch or so here. So as soon as it warms up, it should green up and take off. The frost is not damaging the wheat yet at this point because the wheat is still in that green up phase. Once it joints, or especially as we get closer to heading, then the frost will hurt it much more, but we're not anywhere close to that right now. So wheat looks good. It is just fine, and we need to get the herbicide on and then the second shot of nitrogen shortly.
Well, we're still in the tractor here, still disking. It's going good. We've only had 1 rock in the gang, so just stopped real quick, got that out. But it's looking real good. I didn't think it would look this good. Obviously not going to plant today, but it's working down nice. The corn stalks are getting chopped up, and it's spitting them underground. So it's doing a good job. We'll get this field done, move on to the next one, and then possibly start on a 3rd one. They're all within a ½ mile, so I do have to leave early today. So the farm's just right down there, right down the road. So we'll go there once we're all done, and hopefully we can get at least 2.5 fields done, maybe 3. So I don't know, we'll see. We're chugging right along, not going too bad.
Well, as I mentioned, this one was a bit of a drive, but we got our boxes unloaded here. This customer actually contacted me off of my YouTube videos last fall, and we're east of Toledo a little ways. It's a bit of a haul for me, but I told him I'd get his stuff to him, and so we did that. Interesting here, it is, you guys think we're flat. This is basically tabletop flat. You can see for miles around here where there's no trees, and we're only a few miles off of Lake Erie, which affects their climate quite a bit here. They stay cooler in the spring, but they stay warmer in the fall, and so almost nothing done around here as far as planting goes. A little bit of tillage work's been done. A lot of no-till, it looks like. None of these fields are really any fall tillage done, so just different, totally different environment where they're farming here. You can see the steam over there. That is the nuclear power plant.
Well, here we are wrapping it up, doing end rows here by the road. Next field we're going to is just right there, so just once we get to the other end here, there's a little drive we can hop over and we'll be in the next field. But go to that field and work on it. We have probably 2.5 hours we'll work on that field. So we will keep going. No problems yet, other than that one rock that we had there at the start, but disc and packer are working good. Little as you can see right there, that stays a little wet and it's a little mucky. Once you crest that hill over there, there's some really light, high organic matter soil that does like to push in front of the packer, so it's something we got to watch. But usually just set the wheels down a little bit, take some pressure off the packer wheels, and it goes right through it. But it's just something we have to pay attention to. So we'll get done with this field, hop across the road, and start on that one.
We have made it back to the farm. There's no sprayer in that gator yet. Okay, well, we'll see what's going on there. I forgot the other day I was working on this. I had a fertilizer leak right here. And I think that my hose is actually cut right in here where the clamp was. So I was gonna take that off and cut it. And I didn't get to it the other day. So I'm gonna work on that right now. And then we're gonna go see how Brock's doing. I assume he's in a disc because it's not here anymore. And from there, maybe we'll dig some stuff. Brock might have to leave because he had a meeting or something tonight, something. So we'll just see what's going on. Maybe we'll disc, maybe we'll get in the field cultivator. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I got that off. We should have plenty of extra hose there. I kind of had a big loop in it so that it would work when we turn, but we should have enough to be able to just trim that off a little bit. I don't see a hole, but it was leaking, so if nothing else, readjusting it and tightening the clamp will help. Well, we'll see if that helps. Clean up a little bit here. We got a bunch of boxes and stuff from the pip install last week that we need to take care of at some point. A whole pile here, but we don't need to do that right now. So, all right, it's cold outside, but I need to go look at some fields and drive around. Do I take the gator or my pickup? I'm thinking pickup. Well, I found Dad. He's picking up some sticks and stuff along this tree line that had a bunch of branches come down in the ice storm. So I'll talk to him for a second. I brought my thermometer. We'll stick in the ground out here somewhere. This field is planted. Soybeans 30-inch rows. Our beans are growing. Got a nice sprout on them. I'm happy with that. And look, here's why we're not so worried. Ground temp, 57 degrees. It's 45 degrees outside, maybe, if we're lucky. It's probably closer to 38 degrees right now. It's still nice and warm in the ground. Well, that is pretty encouraging here that our ground is so warm. I thought for sure we'd be down in the 40s, but I left that thermometer sitting there for 3 or 4 minutes, and it 57 degrees. That is really good. That is really good. That was seeding depth in a planted bean field. Like, I stuck it right in the furrows. So, and the beans look great. We need to go find a cornfield. I see some action happening over here with some of our equipment, so we're going to go drive by that. We're going to go find a cornfield to look at, but I think it's game on. We're probably not going to take a planter to the field today, but I think tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday it is game on. Let's plant as much as we can, as fast as we can. Phil's working over here running the field cultivator. That's kind of what I was going to do this afternoon, but that's okay. Good for him. Just going to stop. I've been staring at this rock as we drive by all winter. See if I can roll it out of the way here. Oh, got it. I was supposed to be a good YouTuber and set up a camera and show you me carrying that rock off the field, but I don't feel like it, so I didn't. But I got it. There's Brock. Getting some more corn stalks disc down. That's good. Keep it moving. I didn't even notice. I think he did the field on the other side of the road already. As I said, go plant tomorrow. It's now snowing on me. Nature is humbling. Alright, well, I jumped in, Phil, and rode around there for a second, and while doing so, Brock called me. Apparently we have a wheel bearing out on the disc. How fun for us. Wing tie this time, not a mainframe like we had last fall. This disc, I tell you what, it's got all kinds of problems. But he took it back to the farm, so we're going to head back there and see what we can do. But we have a cornfield that we planted 2 weeks ago up here around the corner. We're going to stop and dig up a seed first. Well, the corn's not out of the ground yet. Imagine that. We're going to come out here and stick our thermometer in the ground, and we'll do a little digging while it acclimates. And we'll see what things look like out here. You gotta walk a long ways to get through the end rows. That's going to suck this summer when we want to get out into the main part of the field and we got all those extra end rows to get through. Oh, look at that big curve. What a terrible job I did. Oh well. Alright, we got that in the ground. Now let's dig. I don't have my seed digger tool. I took it out of my pocket this morning, but look at that. If I would show you what I'm doing. Come on. Oh yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Plenty of moisture. Got a good root started. And just starting to send the shoot up to the surface. It's in good shape, man. Everything we have done is so good right now. It's hard to say, don't plant, it's too cold, when the stuff that we already have planted is just like, you can't ask for much better. There's another one that's the same thing. A little cooler over here. 52 degrees, but that's still pretty dang good, isn't it? I think we should be planting. We can see we've got a little bit of moisture showing here. Like, we did have a little bit of rain, but not much. I think it's settled in there. All right. I believe we should be planting. Now, I did look at the forecast for tomorrow. Has changed. A couple of days ago, there was no rain after yesterday. And then today we've had spitting showers. Nothing really, but they have a 70% chance of rain in the forecast for tomorrow. So, if that's actual rain and not rain like today rain, that will keep us from planting tomorrow. And maybe Wednesday and Thursday as well. So I don't know how much we'll get done. Part of me hopes that it does rain so that I don't plant anymore. Part of me hopes that it doesn't so we can be done. I don't know. Guys, I am totally winging it here. I have no idea what the right answer is. I think we are doing the right thing, but there's major risks to having as much planted as we do and to keep planting and putting more eggs into that basket of planted into cold early conditions. Dry. Cold and dry, not cold and wet. There's a big difference between cold and wet and cold and dry. But there's risk either way, right? The risk now is that it's cold soil, it's going to grow slow, and we may compromise emergence, and we may have crusting, we may have replant. The risk to not planting is that we get later, we lose yield potential, we get more weather potential where we're rained out for a while, and it could get really late before we get stuff planted. I don't know. Don't know what the right answer is. Usually you diversify. You plant a little bit now, you plant a little bit later. You do what you can when you can, but as warm as the ground is, I think we should just keep planting.
Well, we're back at the farm and the field's not done. We have a problem. This thing is not supposed to do that. So getting our wheel bearing out. So we're gonna take this wheel off, and then, I don't know if you can see down there, but yep, it's out. So we'll take it off and try to find a new one. Talked to Nathan and he didn't seem too happy, so, but what can you do? Here we go.
All right, Brock tells me we have a wheel bearing out. Which one is it? Well, that's a pivot. Those are wobbly, but not it. Must be on the other side. I don't think it's that. What are we doing here? I don't know. I'll wait for him to get out here, I guess. Must be this one. Just barely. That's a pretty good catch, actually. I don't want to give Brock too much credit, but... Alright, we gotta get the tire off. He's getting stuff. This is a problem. So we gotta knock this cover off, and then there's a big nut under there. We'll get it taken apart. Before everyone accuses us of not greasing it, she's chock full of grease. Just tighten it up. Just tighten the nut up. There's probably a cotter pin in there. You're gonna have to clean it up and get the pin out before you take the nut off. Up there. Probably just need to tighten that. You probably do it by hand. Maybe not.
Just.
At least the sun's shining and it's not snowing like it was 5 minutes ago.
But you know, at least I stopped this time when I seen it going out, not just run it and ruin the whole thing.
I already gave you more credit than you deserve for this.
Did you?
I did. I came out and said, that's a pretty good catch. But let's not give Brock too much credit. It is a good catch, especially on a wing. It must have been moving around a fair bit.
It was not.
How did you see it then?
Because when I greased it earlier.
Oh, so it was spent out all day and you just decided to call me now. That makes more sense.
Does that sound more like me?
All right. Well, take that in the shop. The hub here all looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Except for maybe... Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. There's a seal that's supposed to go in there somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll clean that up, go in the shop, see what we got. We do have some grooves and some wears right here from the seal. I don't know how bad that is. It sort of looks bad when you look at the top and the bottom from the side. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's go see what we got for a bearing.
Well, everybody be attending his funeral.
This is your fault. Look at that. Well, look at what he did to me.
Yeah.
Look at what he did to me. Brock, if you wouldn't have made this wheel bearing go out, I wouldn't have to have my hands all greasy. You clearly were driving when it happened.
Did you help this morning on that bearing? Either of those?
I did not. I was busy doing important things.
Mm-hmm. Darn.
This is what I pay you for, so I don't have to get dirty.
You must not be paying me right now.
This is the point where you should point out that I haven't paid you in a couple of weeks.
It's been 4 weeks since I've gotten a paycheck.
Yeah, I realized that this morning. Like, I probably owed Brock a check or two. Oh, dang it.
It's alright. I've never been worried about getting paid like this.
Other places, maybe. Here? No. So our bearing is not actually out and gone, but it's got this big kind of, it's got a lot of play in it. And I know these roller bearings, tapered roller bearings, are going to have some, but I feel like that's too much. Like that's almost what we were seeing. So it wasn't so much that the bearing was actually gone just yet, just it was getting there. So I'm going to see if we got another one. I don't really think the outside one is bad either, but it's one of those things. When you've got it apart, you should probably just change them, especially if you have access to the bearings easily. And I would imagine we've got these somewhere. If I can find the numbers on that one. Well, we're good farmers like that. And we have both bearings on hand, and you can see this one is very round. This one is very not round. That's a really good catch to get that before it all destroyed itself and falls apart. Anyway, so we got to pack these with grease and stick them in there, and then go put this back on. And we even had a new seal. What a deal! All right, a little fresh grease. Got the bearings in. Got the new seal on the bottom to hold the bottom bearing in. This one's just sitting in here. We got to take it out, put it back on. Should be a washer. I don't remember seeing a washer when we took it off, but there should be a washer and a nut. And we're going to need a new cotter pin because Brock broke the one as we were getting it out, didn't you, Brock?
That's the only thing I break today.
It's not. You broke the wheel bearing.
Those are the only two things I break today.
All right, let's go put this back on. Well, all went on okay. There was a washer. There's our nut. Wheel bearings, you tighten it up basically as tight as you can get it, and then you back it off to get the cotter pin in. Knock the dirt off there. Okay then, I tell you what. Okay, problem. These threads are junk. I kept spinning and spinning and spinning, and it doesn't tighten up because the threads are strapped. That doesn't look great either, but we can't tighten up, which is why it was wiggling in and out. Not so much because the bearing was gone, but because the threads on the spindle are bad. So that whole hub's got to come out, or the spindle. And yeah, great. We have a new one, but that ain't gonna work. That is way too big.
Yep.
That's for the mainframe. Way bigger. Gosh dang it. This disc is a piece of junk. Okay, well, the solution was to put an extra washer in there and a new nut. And the threads are still bad, but it's at least better than it was. We got it to tighten up. I was able to get it as tight as I wanted, back it off, and got the cotter pin in. It's gonna hold until we're done with it for the spring. And then we're gonna have to do a big rebuild on this when we put new blades and stuff on, and we will address it then, but we need a new spindle. So anyway, it's gonna work. We're getting it back together. Brock's got the cap on. I greased it. We're gonna put a tire on. I'm gonna put our tools away, and we're gonna go disc. All right, she's all back together. We are good to go. So Brock had a meeting tonight, so he's got to go. So we're gonna run the disc. What the heck? I don't have too much else that I need to be doing. We got some beans to treat yet, but they can wait. Our fuel gauge on this tractor has decided to quit working this spring, so we've been topping it off regularly, diligently, and I just did. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but it says we have a quarter of a tank. So gonna have to look into that at some point when we've got time. I don't know when, probably over the summer at some point. I think there's a sending unit in the fuel tank, but you have to take the format out and a cover or plate to get to it, I think, but I don't know. That's most likely the problem. All right, let's do this. So Brock was halfway or a little more across this field, it looks like. We'll finish this one up. There's another, it's a 40, but there's like 32 tillable just to the north here that we can do. Phil's working right across the road over there. He was cleaning out an air filter when I went by. He must have had an air filter plugged code come up or something. So that happens on that tractor fairly frequently because it's a terrible design. Anyway, let's do some tillage. We're just wrapping up this field. That's the neighbors there. There's a little pocket here that had flooded at one point, so we had quite a pile of corn stalks right there where we just went through. Worked through them just fine. A lot of times when you get trash that's piled up like that, it can be wet underneath. Didn't seem to be really at all there. So I got endros to do along this side yet, and we're going to jump to the north couple of fields. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to show here. It's all working pretty good. There's a few weeds. You can see their field's a little green. Ours had some of that similar. The disc will take some of that out, maybe not all of it, but we're gonna get soybean chemicals put on here real fast that'll clean up any weeds that are still growing out here. So yeah, we should be in good shape. Okay, so we are moving across this field here. Like I said, there's, I don't know, 32-ish acres or something like that. But you'll notice this big depression in the middle. This is some of our muck soils. It's very black, high organic matter, like we're talking 20-25% organic matter. It's very soft. Usually it's really wet, and that's why there's a big area from there over that we did not farm through last year, but I think we'll get through it right now. I think. That said, if we're going to get stuck this year, it's going to be right there in a few minutes. So this dirt is very fluffy, and so you've got to be very careful. It's one of those things, you cannot work it too wet, you cannot work it too dry. And when you go through it with a piece of tillage equipment, you lift it up and just skim the surface, because the last thing you want to do is fluff that dirt up, or it'll make it a nightmare to even plant later. I have, in corn planter situations where we don't have the corn stalk residue, I have had this dirt so fluffy and dry that it will actually flow and push in front of the corn planter, and you end up planting about 8 inches deep because the dirt just flows around the grow units rather than floating across them or staying under them, you know. So anyway, it's just different. It's not Iowa black dirt or prairie soils. It is muck, and they are formed in these depressions here because it's where a giant chunk of ice broke off of a glacier 10,000 years ago, and it formed a marsh and a bog and a wet spot that had a lot of plant life and algae that decayed over time, and it's created all of this organic matter. If you dig in it, you'll find chunks of wood and stuff like that. It's unique to, well, it's probably not super unique, but it's, for us, it's unique to pockets in this general area. Like, we don't have a lot of it. We don't have whole fields of it. We have pockets of it, and then you have the nastiest yellow clay you can imagine once you get out of it up towards the back of this field. So just something different that we deal with here. The field across the road is ours. We have some pockets of it there. Actually, the field that we were in before, Brock had gone through a pocket of it over there where Phil was working. There was some. So it's just in this general area here where we deal with this, but it is a unique challenge for us, I guess. Okay, we have reached the limits as to how much of that hole is dry. Whoa, that was close. Whoa. I'll show you when we get back over there, but yeah, I did not think we were going to make it out of that one for a second there. It's a good thing we were going fast and we had some momentum. I thought once we got over there it might be a little bit wet, but right there, that was close. So we're going to finish up behind the hole here, and then we'll finish up in front. Up by the road there. Just not dry, but it's one of those spots that it might not be dry for, you know, until we're in the middle of a summer drought. So don't worry about it. We obviously didn't farm through it last year, so it's maybe a bad idea, but we're going to shoot the gap here. It's a dip over there and a dip over there. Oh, that may have been a bad idea. Keep moving. Keep moving. Shoot. Shoot. Oh no. There was a ridge there. I thought it was dry on top because we were close through, all the way through, and I was fine when I was like right there, but we'll see if I can get out of this. Oh, we were gonna make it. That's how close we were. Just took a diff lock in a little different angle. Get all of my wheels set back down. Oh, that was close. Yeah, buddy. We made it. Yeah. You're gonna take a chance once in a while. What are you gonna do? Now, Brock is gonna yell at me because I went right through the middle, and I've told him don't ever go through the middle of a wet spot. Honestly thought I was going between the wet spots, not through the middle of one. And I made it. I didn't get stuck. We just had to stop for a second, back up and readjust. We're good. It's all good. Wrapped that one up. No troubles around the front side of that hole, so just a little excitement for our day here. It is 6:30. I think I'm going to call it a day. We're going to head back to the farm and go home. So between Brock and I, we did about 110 acres with the disc today. We've got 95 right here to do. There's about 100, not quite, 90 east a few miles in 4 different small fields that we need to do. And then we have about 75-ish acres to the west down by the river, and that's it. That's all the corn stalks that we have left to disc or to do any tillage on. So we are wrapping it up. Phil got this field done with the field cultivator today. You can see the dark pockets in the muck that we were talking about earlier. Anyway, he is working across the road right now, and after he gets that field done, we'll be down to what we got left. I know of one 30-acre piece. Is that it? That might be it. The tillage is about done. No idea. I had no idea how that dirt got on them steps. None whatsoever. All right. Yeah, let's talk about tomorrow. So tomorrow is supposed to be a high of 43 degrees and there's a 70% chance of rain. It's not exactly planting conditions. And a couple of hours ago, I had decided we were going to plant tomorrow. I'm questioning that right now. Tomorrow may be a tillage day. It kind of depends on whether it's actually raining or not, or how imminent the rain looks and that kind of stuff, probably. But I think what's going to end up happening tomorrow is we keep the disc moving, get close to finishing that up, and maybe finish with the field cultivator or something. Because I don't know. We're not... I have a problem planting when it's 40 degrees outside. I know I shouldn't, because cold doesn't matter, dry conditions is what matters, and we have dry conditions, but it just bothers me. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I do have some beans to treat yet. We might work on that. I got another delivery that I could make, so that kind of stuff may happen too. And then it warms up a little bit, at least, later this week, and we'll probably keep planting then. It's just frustrating that it's so cold still. Anyway, thanks for watching today. Hit that like and subscribe button for me, please. If you have any questions, comments, all that good stuff, feel free to leave them down below. And we will see you again in the morning. Now the sun comes out. It's unbelievable. I tell you what, I like cold and dreary, and then the sun comes out and you're like, oh, it's nice. We should be planting. Frustrating.